I think we need these things. The little bit you pollute on a racetrack is one thing, but for your daily driver, really would like to see you get those controls where they are. Even then, no. But then for the air injection system, ones that are belt driven have so little drag on the engine. You can hold the air pump and spin the pulley with your finger. Very little drag on that. You won't even notice it. The ones that affect performance are the ones that are government mandated. That's the government mandated lean mixtures, the government mandated non-adjustable timing, and all that. That's the stuff that's going to be affecting your performance. And the fuel mixtures are a combination of the intake manifold, the air box, the air filter, and the exhaust system, as well as the carburetor or fuel injection. Now we're going to look at some more collision controls we have on bikes. Part 2. Evaporator systems, exhaust gas recirculation, and catalytic converters. Now, one of these we don't have on bikes yet. I see no reason why we shouldn't have them on motorcycles. And they work pretty well for what they do. And I predict that we will have them on motorcycles soon, so I include them. Exhaust gas recirculation is on top of all cars, not found on any motorcycles yet. But as soon as word gets out how much motorcycles pollute, this is kind of on the QT here, hush. Motorcycles pollute more than cars do. Pollution controls on cars are so strict, and on motorcycles we're just starting to get into some pollution controls. But vehicle per vehicle, motorcycles pollute a lot more than their car does. Don't let that get around. Now it's a known fact, but it just hasn't been popularized. And here's I can tell the local politicians haven't jumped on that bandwagon yet. And when they do, I already know who's going to do it. It's going to be water, just if you're like you're somebody who first practice testing. And on the national level, both our senators will be jumping on this too. Certainly fine stuff. Not sure about Oxford. I don't know what she does. Oh, she did that? Boxer? Okay. National Solar Plant, the Desert Solar Plant. Sure. You take the test, test results. You take it. Sure. You take a test, it's always a good thing. Anybody else need to take the midterm? The second midterm? Anybody need to take the first midterm? Is Patrick Perkins here by any chance? Patrick Perkins hasn't taken either midterm, but he's attending. What's that?
I think he dropped.
He dropped?
I think so.
If he dropped, he didn't put the paperwork through. Really? You know, he's missed 2 midterms, but someone's been signing his name in.
I haven't seen him on campus in about a month.
Really? Okay. Well, hopefully he dropped himself. I don't think I'll be able to do it after yesterday, actually.
Yeah, yesterday he did.
He did drop yesterday?
That's what he told me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was his last day. He didn't talk about deadline. All right. Okay, never mind on Patrick Perkins. Yeah, he got hurt. Did he get hurt on a motorcycle?
He got hit, but he didn't get hurt.
Oh, he got hit. So why is he not here? No, he dropped his bike and dropped the class. Well, not a bike, there's no point taking the class because I don't know. No, I've had a couple that got hurt. I mean, like Daniel got hurt. And he came back on crutches.
He's working over at West Coast, UP.
Yeah?
Our intern.
Oh, okay, he's working then.
Yeah.
She doesn't need me anymore because he's working. I'll remember that. No, actually, that's the whole point of this. Good. One of my students got a job. That's good. Anyway, vehicles emit pollutants even when they're parked. You don't have to drive a car, drive a motorcycle, and it's polluting just while it's sitting there. And it's emitting pollutants mainly from the gas tank, and also from the float poles of the carburetors, if it's a carbureted vehicle, and the crankcase. In California, it has required street vehicles and motorcycles to have an evaporative system, an evap system, to combat what happens when the bike is parked and you're not driving it. And so they had to add charcoal canisters to motorcycles. All motorcycles sold in California had this evaporative system built in, or added on if necessary. In some cases, it was an easy transition. For the Japanese manufacturers, putting an evap system was no problem at all. They were already required to do that in Japan anyway. And so they already had it designed to fit on the bike, be out of sight, looked okay, worked okay. Whereas Harley-Davidson and BMW were kind of blindsided by this. And they ended up hanging an evaporative can from one of the down tube frame members or something. It was, especially Harley's, it was hideously ugly. Just sitting out there, it's like, what was that? Doing there. It was messing with the lines of the motorcycle. It really was. Whereas on the Japanese products, it was a little carton about this big, about the size of a deck of playing cards. It was tucked up underneath the side panel, and you never saw it. Either way, they both did it. All manufacturers were required to have an evaporative system to combat the pollutants that occur when the gas then just evaporates out of the air when you park. They do that by using activated charcoal. Inside this can, and in a car, it looks like a little black plastic coffee can stuck to your firewall or your fender screen with a bunch of vacuum lines going into it. On motorcycles, it's usually an elongated can. It's a Harley, it's about this big. It's a BMW, it's about this big. Or that little box, playing card size box that the Japanese use. And it's filled with activated charcoal. There's a line going into this catch activated charcoal that taps into your fuel tank, and another line from your crankcase, and usually a line from each of the float poles of your carburetor. All going into this thing, right to there. You have a fresh air inlet into this, and then you have an outlet that leads back to your intake manifold. What this does is it absorbs the unburned hydrocarbons into the activated charcoal. First time I heard about activated charcoal was on Parliament filter cigarettes way back in the 60s that would absorb the smoke. It seemed like a good idea, but then Parliament made the filters out of asbestos. Yeah, no comment. Anyway, the activated charcoal absorbs these vapors and holds them, stores them. Then when the engine is running, again, at mid-range throttle, when you want to notice the difference in your fuel mixture, because you're only using a couple horsepower, your motorcycle can make 110 maybe, you're only using 5 of that at the moment while you're going down the highway. We'll take those vapors and they're stored and run them back to the engine and turn the unburned hydrocarbons into water vapor and carbon dioxide, the good pollutants. This is a typical motorcycle evap system. There's a valve in here called a purge control valve. Down there. The vapors are going into the charcoal canister from the fuel tank. There's also a line going into the activated charcoal canister from the carburetors, because there's a little puddle of gas with both float poles. Those are going into the charcoal canister as well. And we also have a line going to engine vacuum, right here, that operates the purge control valve. When the engine vacuum is correct, which means it's not idling, not at wide open throttle, the purge control valve opens up and takes those vapors that were stored in your charcoal canister and runs them through the engine, where they can be burned, and thereby preventing problems. Here's another view of the evap system. This is a typical Harley-Davidson canister, although this appears to be a Yamaha or a Honda shaped fuel tank. This one actually has a fuel pump along with the carburetors. Right across here, I have a connection between all the float balls that goes into the charcoal canister to store the vapors from the carburetors. I've got a line up top, from right up there, going through the fuel tank and the charcoal canister. If you look at the bottom of the fuel tank, there's a couple vacuum lines coming off that. Usually, instead of just one fuel line in the petcock, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out of the fuel tank. One of them is your overflow tube, which is connected up to the very top by your filler cap. If you overfill it with gasoline, it just pours it on the street. The other one, up high, is a vent to your charcoal canister. The overflow one should be effective before that one gets covered. It's also why they say don't overfill your gas tank. You know, they don't top it up. Purge control valve, we have two of them here, vacuum operated. When the engine vacuum is correct, which means somewhere between not at wide open throttle and not at idle, they open up, and the vapors in the charcoal canister go through here and here, and it throws the carburetors and get burned, turning into carbon dioxide, water vapor. The only issues with this happen when your bike falls over, or if you overfill the bike with gasoline. When that happens, raw gasoline goes down this vapors and fills the charcoal canister with gasoline. When that happens, and your purge control valves open up, nothing can move, and the engine stalls. It won't work. The only way you can fix that, if you fill your charcoal canister up with gasoline, is to take it out of the bike completely and put it in the sun, and give it a day or two for the gasoline that's inside to evaporate out and dry out. So don't do that. Now, since motorcycles don't normally stay upright on two wheels unless they're moving and somebody's operating, right? They're on two wheels and no side stand, they're going to on their side very, very quickly. Or if you have it on a side stand and it's a hot day and the asphalt is kind of oozy and the side stand digs in. Or if your side stand was made by BMW, who unquestionably make the worst side stand in the industry, Harley makes the best, by the way. Harley side stands, you can put a bike on a side stand, aim the bike down a hill, and put naked girls on top of it. It will not come off of the side stand. Easy Rider does that all the time. They're top right. Whereas BMW will fall off the side stand just to give it a dirty look.